Welcome back to page 121. Today I'm going to talk about, don't have a picture for it. Today I'm going to talk about the Helm of Brilliance, a magic item in the original Dungeon Master Guide that has popped up at my table many times. The reason I've chosen it is because it can be a bit of a game changer magic item, and I just thought it would be kind of neat to take a look at it, what it can do to your campaign, and why a player definitely wants to have one, or maybe why they don't. So today on page 121, Helm of Brilliance from the Dungeon Master Guide. All right, Helm of Brilliance. I'm starting out today showing some pictures of different helms from the Dungeon Master's Adventure Log. I did a video on this one a few months ago because, oddly enough, there are not really a lot of good pictures of a Helm of Brilliance anywhere, even online. I didn't really care for the pictures that were available, so I didn't use them. When first found, a Helm of Brilliance looks like a normal helm. Normal helmet, so you could have it look like any of these. You could have it be a great helm, so you could be like the Black Knight from Monty Python if you want. Another great helm right there. So one of these types is how it's going to appear. So now a quick look at the magic item itself. The Helm of Brilliance, as I said, is in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Past page 121, which is my channel's namesake, there is page 121. Yay, that's where all the excitement begins, the stuff I love, the magic items. But here we go to page 145, the Helm of Brilliance. When discovered, a Helm of Brilliance appears to be nothing more than an ordinary piece of armor for head protection. Helmet, bassinet, whatever. When worn, it functions only upon the utterance of a special command word. Now this is interesting. This is the first point I wanted to bring up, one of the first things I thought of when I decided to make this video. You need a special command word. I have run that in two different ways. I have run it that they have to say the command word to activate the item and gain all the powers from it. Otherwise, it looks like an ordinary helmet. Or I've done it that once they've found the helmet and found the activation word, they only need to say the activation word once. As long as the helmet stays in their protection, then all the powers stay on. There are pros and cons for doing it either way. The pro for the player is that this helm gives +2 to armor class once it's activated, which is pretty nice. But if it only has to be activated, that means that your player would have to know going into the situation that his character was about to be into a threatening situation, so he would need to activate the helmet each time. The other way that's a little easier is to just let the helmet be activated once. That's really up to you. I've done it both ways. When we were new to D&D, it was pretty interesting to make the player continually turn it on. Now that we're all more veteran and we want to get on to the meat of the adventure and not worry about this kind of stuff, it's not something I worry about too much. Also, when the helmet is first activated, it gleams and glitters distractingly. And I've used this to good effect where the guy's going down a dark dungeon passageway and his helmet's going off like fireworks, attracting monsters, that sort of thing. I usually, even back in the day, in the early 80s, I usually would let that effect calm down after a day or two. I don't want magic items to be a penalty for the player character. A lot of this book, unfortunately, was written kind of against player characters, and I don't do that. So I will let that effect calm down a day or two, but it's kind of fun. So the helmet itself, when so empowered, shows it gives a +2 armor class. Now the helm is armor of +2 value. Is that the head only? Again, that depends on how you play. I don't play hit locations. It's +2 to your total armor class. Brilliant silver and polished steel, set with 10 diamonds, 20 rubies, 30 fire opals, and 40 opals, each of large size and magicked. And they perform as such. So now we go to the next page. And there we have it. The diamond gives a prismatic spray. You get 10 of these off this. Now, these are all one and dones. When I've thrown all 10 diamonds, I no longer have prismatic spray on it. That is good. That's a nice thing to hold the player characters in check, keep them from going too crazy with this magic item. They're not going to be using it up, because once all of these diamonds, rubies, and opals are off the helm is no longer magical in any way. It has other powers that are there as long as there's still one gem left. I also rule, by the way, that only the player may pull the gems off the helmet. I don't allow other player characters to do it, which I had someone try one time in a game as kind of a joke, and I don't let monsters do it. So for 10, the Prismatic Spray goes to the 7th level Illusionist spell. Each of these on the helm, it says right here, it's 1 segment to activate because you take the gem and basically that casts the spell. You hold the gem forth and the spell casts. And it goes as double the level casting of the level stated here. So a 7th level Illusionist spell would go at 14th level on this helm. Wall of Fire at 5th level Druid would go at 10th level. The Fireball at 3rd level Magic User spell would be 6 dice, and the Light would go as 2nd level Cleric. So all you do is double the levels here. So that's kind of interesting too, because the other way you could do it is, in our campaign at least, and a lot of campaigns I'm aware of, the default is 12th level for any magic item. So you could also have these act as 12th level. So that would be a 12 dice Fireball, etc., etc. I don't, because the magic item expressly calls out the levels it acts at. I go by what's written here. So you can pull off a diamond and cast a Prismatic Spray, a ruby, Wall of Fire, a fire opal, Fireball, and then a regular opal as a light spell. All pretty good powers, 1 segment to activate, and then it's a 1 and done for each of those. The other powers you have on the helmet, there are 4. It glows a bluish light when undead are within 30 feet. Light causes pain, and 1 to 6 points of damage to all creatures except skeletons and zombies. Why not skeletons and zombies? Because it would automatically always kill them. I don't use this power. I pulled it out. We had a few too many conflicts. I could never sneak up on them with undead. It was hard to really do anything with undead with one of these helmets in, so I just bleeped this power out. It doesn't exist. Power 2. The wearer may command any sword he wields as a sword of flame, this being additional to other special properties, if any, and it takes 1 round to activate. I live by the 1 round to activate, but I do let this not only go as a sword of flame, I let it go as a flame tongue. It's 1 round to activate, but it gains all the benefits of a flame tongue sword. And a flame tongue sword is pretty darn powerful. Now, the other thing you have to state, because it's going as a flame tongue, it gets extra bonuses. Here you go. Flame tongue is +1 normally, +2 versus regenerating creatures, +3 versus cold using, inflammable or avian creatures, and +4 versus undead. So if I have a character who's swinging a Vorpal sword at a Lich, Lich is undead. That Vorpal sword is innately +3. He gets the additional +4 on top of that +3, making him +7 attack, +7 damage versus that Lich. However, the Vorpal only works on its natural numbers for the sword. So the 17, 18, 19, and 20, not enhanced by the Flame Tongue. I realize this makes the Flame Tongue pretty strong, but there's really no flame sword of flame anywhere in the book other than a Flame Tongue. So back in the day, when I sat around with my players and my fellow DMs, we talked about it and we decided that that would be the way we'd use it. I've used it since. It's not been a problem. The wearer may produce flame as a 5th level druid. Produce flame is a moderately interesting spell, 2nd level druid spell. You can hold flame in the palm of your hand and it will light up an area and you can throw it and it'll light something on fire. And then the wearer is protected by double strength fire resistance, but this protection cannot be augmented further magical means. I only allow double strength fire resistance in my game, so that's perfect. That's the best you can go. So I said at the opening that it's an item you'd want. I just called out a bunch of reasons why you'd want this item. Here's the reason you wouldn't. If the player fails to make a saving throw versus fire, like in our campaign, a natural 1 always fails. If he fails, then the helm has to save. If the helm fails, it detonates. Now, it says here, it gives whatever cause is left in the helm is visited on the wearer. I allow it to be the area of effect. So if I still have all my fireballs in there, my fire opals, and I have 30 of those, that'd be 30 die 6 fireballs or 180 d6 fireballs. And you don't get the protection from your double fire resistance here because the helm is destroyed. Oh, this is never going to happen. Yes, it happened. It happened in a campaign, in a game I ran back in the late 90s. There were 4 of us playing. The 3-player characters going up a road. I did what I thought would be an inconsequential little encounter with some bandits. I had a magic user working with the bandits with a wand of fireballs. I hit him with a D6 fireball. The wearer of the helm, they were about 9th to 10th level. The wearer of the helm failed his saving throw that on a natural 1 and then threw another natural 1 for the helm. The helm detonated. I ruled it wiped. It hit everybody. We rolled the effects. It wiped the party. That was the first 10 minutes of my game. It was the quickest total party kill I have ever done. I kind of regretted it, but the dice said it happened. Everybody else pulled out different characters, and we continued with my original game. It was pretty funny. Even the players laughed about it. You have to admit, rolling back-to-back ones, pretty darn rare. I've seen 3 back-to-back ones. I've done it, but it's still pretty darn rare, but I have seen it. So there's a reason you might not want to own this magic item. As a DM, it's a reason to give it out. Now, I recommend that this magic item be given out after 8th level or so. And again, that's going to depend on the power level of your campaign. This can be a game changer in power for your characters. For instance, the prismatic spray that I was talking about here. In our campaign, the spray damage is double. So instead of 20, 40, and 60, or 20, 40, and 80, it's double that. So it's 40, 80, 160. So that's a lot of damage. The Ruby, the fireball, I've just explained what you can do with that, but that's a lot of D6 fireballs you can throw. And it doesn't say anything about having to physically throw the gem. It says cast. So I rule it that you cast it. So for instance, you can do the range and everything that you would do ordinarily for a fireball, a wall of fire, all the manifestations of a wall of fire you can do. And a wall of fire at 10th level does 4 to 16, so it's 4 die 4, plus 10 points of damage. That's considerable, and it lasts 10 rounds. And the ring version goes with you. So that can be quite a bit of damage given out. So you want to be careful with this guy. I would not give it out till at least 8th. I'm usually closer to 10th before I'll give it out. When I give one of these out, I do make the players find the command word for it. It could be either in the same dungeon, or if we're wrapping the night and they happen to get it out of a horde of some type, then that can be one of the things they go for in the next game. So that's really all I had to say about the Helm of Brilliance. That's how we use it in our campaign. I'd be interested in feedback on that and how you use it in your campaign. Is really an individual's DM, their decision as to how they're going to use this magic item. And I've tried to go over the pros and cons of doing it different ways. So I hope I was clear on that. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thanks for watching, and thank you for turning to page 121.